Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of SportsView on TV on Monday, the 28th of October. And good evening, Joe Waters.
Good evening, Pat. Evening, Derwynne.
Good evening, Derwynne.
Hi, Pat. Hi, Joe.
Now, we'll be covering the usual soccer stories. And as I say, a week is a long time in politics, but a week is a long time in soccer. An awful lot has changed since we were here last Monday night, or potentially anyway, And Manchester United are looking for a new manager. There's Eric Ten Hag up there again, 2 years and a bit years, but they'll be looking for their sixth manager in 11 years, which you could say as well now, in fairness to the man, I would say it as my own opinion, is that he was unlucky in a lot of games. I mean, that shocking decision yesterday or yesterday that led to the penalty for West Ham. It's VAR again making up new rules in soccer, in my opinion, Derwynne. What do you think of it?
Yeah, well, it wasn't a penalty, was it? I mean,
no.
It wasn't a penalty.
No, it's just shocking. And the man that was reading out the score as well yesterday, he got a bit emotional.
Manchester United. Viewers, apologize. I'm continue.
Sorry, no. I found it this morning in my feed, He was reading out the Premiership. He's become a celebrity, that fella. But I saw most of the match, and I thought, they missed an awful lot of chances as well, They created as many chances, West Ham, and they just couldn't finish them,
Well, let's face it, West Ham aren't great at the moment, are they?
No.
United hit the post, twice?
Yeah.
Missed that splitter.
I mean, to be honest, if they're on form, that game is going to be 5-0, 5-1.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I was talking to Pat earlier. Diego Dallo's defending for the goal was absolutely horrible. I mean, he has no idea the guy is behind him. And if he's doing his job properly and he plays with his head on a swivel, he sees the guy and he blocks the ball. It gets through to him for the goal. So it's not. I don't care what you say about. Excuse me. What people's opinions of Eric Ten Hag are or what have you. But when you have players that are making that kind of money and they can't miss up on basic defending.
Yeah.
Those play with their head on a swivel. Do not get back posted. You never get back posted. And again, the same thing happened on Thursday night at Fenerbahce, and it was only the goalkeeper pulled him out twice when he stood ball watching for the two headers.
Yeah.
That right on half time. I mean, the guy has no clue about it whatsoever. And then, to make matters worse, I know anybody can miss a chance, but he goes up the other end and he balloons one over the bar when he could have made up for it.
Yeah.
So, it's players that cost you and officials, because the penalty was an out-and-out joke.
It was appalling, but I mean, you could say that penalty did lead to the sacking of Ten Hag,
Yeah.
Because if just the other way around, if they had managed to draw or win, I think he'd be still in his job. That's how fickle the game is.
Yeah. I think so.
I think personally, Ten Hag's been a little bit lacking. I think he's had some bad luck with injuries. And I think those players are not very good. That's the only way I can phrase it.
Well, I agree with you there. And there were wins in the Premiership for Forest, Brentford, Man City, Chelsea, Palace, West Ham. And in Europe, Madrid, as we said, Madrid came from 2 down to win 5-2. They looked extremely impressive in the European Cup and looked very, very impressive. Arsenal and Villa won as well during the week in Europe. I talked about, you know. Man United drew with Fenerbahce, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1-1. Yeah.
I mean, talk about that result. They went there when Sir Alex Ferguson was the manager, and they had Cantona and those guys. And I
Yeah.
think they lost. And Ned Dembaba scored twice, I think,
Oh yeah.
in the Champions League a few years ago.
Hmm.
So Fenerbahce is not an easy place to go. And
No.
Turkey, for anybody that's ever played any match of any kind of importance there, is a very, very hostile place to
I
go
mean,
play.
I was watching the coverage this morning for a while on Sky Sports. My God, there was a few of the panelists were saying that Gareth Southgate could be in the frame to manage Manchester United. I mean, that would be annihilation altogether. It certainly would be in the Championship. Certainly with him, and they have him anyway, you know.
Well, I mean, there's some people that are just not suited to be
Club managers.
managers of certain clubs, and Manchester United requires a huge character, and it requires luck as well.
It all does.
And you go back to the Busby Babes and the Munich air disaster and what have you, but it really wasn't Matt Busby that rebuilt the club from that disaster. It was Jimmy Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy Murphy is the one that brought in those new young fellas and what have you, brought in the likes of I'm not sure if Noel Campbell was there before, but I think he brought the likes of him in and what have you. And he was the one
Steady.
doing most of the coaching. He was the one that was responsible for the youth teams and what have you. So it can, sometimes people can get a stroke of luck and things
Yes.
happen for a good reason. But then you have the likes of Liverpool under Shankly, who, when he went in there, had a great group of guys that were that were at the club already, that were all Liverpool players, and they all moved over onto the coaching side of it. And luckily enough, they had a conveyor belt of terrific characters and managers that they maintained, and they built a culture within the club. Unfortunately for Manchester United, is that something went wrong at the end of the Ferguson years, and the culture was not good. Because you look at Liverpool now, right? Liverpool, I think Klopp saw what was happening at Liverpool. His style of play was not going to be something that he was going to be able to enforce for the next couple of years, because players get tired of it. They get tired of the constant hard work, the no rest that you're going to the wall 99% of the time in ending games. And he had a great organization there. He had players. I mean, Arnie Slot's come in, and has he brought in any new players?
No.
They're all Klopp's players, right?
Yeah.
Now with just a little bit of a different system, and they're all adjusting to it, and they're all having a great time with it.
They're enjoying it.
Yes, they are.
Joe, you just hit something that's really interesting. So I've been thinking about this for ages, and I'm going to go public with it now, right? So when you think back to Liverpool, when Shankly moved over, and it was Paisley that came in, wasn't it?
Correct.
And then there was Joe Fagan. And you had like a constant theme running through Liverpool when they were at their best.
Yeah.
When they dominated European football, is they had a constant theme from management. The next person was already indoctrinated into the whole system and took over. The players knew them, and it was just kept on moving. When Ferguson left United, there was no continuity.
No.
You think about it, Ferguson's right-hand man did not take over. If you think back to Liverpool in the 70s, when Shankly went, Paisley stepped in. When Paisley went, Fagan stepped in.
Yeah.
And all in the same mould. They'd been trained, for want of a better word. And the players knew what they were going to get. Now, I know it's modern day football, and I know it's all slightly different now. But if you think about that sort of theme that went on with Liverpool, that theme did not happen at United. Ferguson left, and it was start again time. Players were coming to the end of their careers, really, weren't they? When you think about it.
Yeah, so I mean, some of them were, but you know, the thing about Ferguson as well, though, was that you never heard of any differences of opinion between Liverpool players and Liverpool managers and coaching staff. You heard about that at United. I mean, Ferguson was the kind of a person that if you crossed him, you were done. I mean, he now admits, and of course, we can all say whatever we want to say about, hindsight and what have you. But he says the worst mistake he ever made was when he got rid of Stam.
Sam, fabulous player.
Yeah, Stam gave him up in a book that he wrote about meeting with him beforehand.
Yeah.
Right? And Ferguson took an upfront to that. So he said, right, meets him at a petrol station and tells him you're gone. I mean, the ego that was there, compared to like Liverpool, Ronnie Moran used to come into the Liverpool dressing room.
Joe, I think it would be fair to say that Manchester United are suffering from Ferguson's legacy. There was nothing there after him, nothing. He had nothing planned. He had nothing for the future. He had nothing around him. He had alienated loads and loads of good people behind the scenes out of the club, as well as players, staff as well. So he had a negative effect on the club.
Well, and that was my comment, that if you think about Ferguson's right-hand man in that last 2 seasons, in reality, if it was the Liverpool way, that man would have taken over the reins.
Without a doubt.
Ferguson was a clever guy, wasn't he? Because he knew the team was coming towards the end of its cycle. He was probably at the end of his cycle as well, with regards perhaps the politics that was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And United was then going through a changeover with regards to Glaziers coming in, and probably saying there's no money going to be coming forward. So he probably sussed a load of different things out and just walked away at the right time, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he did. And, the same thing happened with Busby. There was no succession plan for when Busby left. He had Wilf McGuinness in. Wilf McGuinness was a great guy, had been a former United player.
Yeah.
And had been the manager and what have you, and took over. And again, it was kind of one of those things where Busby was still in the building every day. You know what Bob Paisley did when Shankly was hanging around Anfield all the time and the training ground? He went to the board and he told them he cannot be doing this. He's undermining what we're doing. And Shankly was not allowed. He was welcome at Everton's training ground at Finch Farm, where he wasn't welcome at Liverpool. So, it's when your day is done, you've got to move away and let the new person come in and do what, and it's one of those things that you have to have a plan for it. And there was really no plan. There was no plan for the Ferguson year either when he finished. And like you said, Derwynne, I mean, the year they lost the league to Man City on goal difference.
Yeah.
And then they went out and signed the guy from Van Persie from Arsenal.
Yeah.
They lost. What did they lose the league on goal difference by? A goal or something like that, or a couple of
Yeah, it
goals.
was a goal.
Yeah.
Goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go out and sign Van Persie, who scored 30 goals the year before for Arsenal. So he knew what he was getting. He knew he had one more chance at winning it. But he also knew what was going on over at City. He wasn't
He did.
stupid. And he tried to get Guardiola to United. He met with Guardiola, I think it was in New York. And they had lunch in New York and talked about the possibility of him maybe coming to United. But his buddies, Bergstrom and the other guy that's at City, were all from Barcelona, were already in place over at City. So they'd already laid the groundwork for Guardiola be coming over to City. So they had their plan in place for what they wanted to do. And again,
SportsView is a program on their media.tv. I forgot to tell you to start. All the information is down at the bottom of the screen. Press the red button on our YouTube channel to subscribe to our podcast, and you're very welcome. We have a local hero coming up. Little Tara, the daughter of John Loftus and Patricia Lipper. She won the goal for Ireland. Mary met there today, and she was saying we'll show them tonight on our podcast. So it's just a minute and a half. Tara won the 100 meters breaststroke in Monaco. Well, that was Tara. She was the gold medal in Monaco. You could hear her dad there, John Loftus, and her mum, Patricia Lipper, of course, the wonderful Mick Lipper, the well-known Mick Lipper, would be an uncle of Patricia's. And Joe, he was a soccer player as well, was he, Joe? Mick
Lipper, yeah, he was. The Lipper family are all great pipe people.
They are all pipe rovers, yeah.
Rovers, and they're all good friends of mine. We've known each other for years. Michael, I think, is the president or the chairman of the club. I'm not sure what his position is now, but he's been.
There's always a Lipper above the club.
They're all involved in it, and all the young kids are coming through again. The grandkids, so it's just great to see the family's doing well.
Yeah, and Tara there won the gold medal, and we hope you enjoyed that tonight when we finish with Sinji, that clip there. Over the weekend, of course, we also had the El Clasico in Spain, and Barcelona completely destroyed Real Madrid.
Can you tell me what happened today that made you so upset at the soccer match? I mean, was it like your team lost, or you ran out of ice cream, or what was it?
That's that's a Real Madrid supporter there.
But I mean, I don't know. Did you watch that match?
I only saw a bit of it.
The amount of times Mbappe was caught offside. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. He was caught offside 4 or 5 times. If he waited a split second longer, he'd have been in 1-on-1.
I forget the Barcelona's manager's name, but the job that he has done, the job that he has done in the club in nurturing local talent on that team that have come through in that club, and it was they were there on the pitch. They could show you what he has brought through. That manager in Barcelona. And they're a very young team,
Yeah.
very young. And I know one swallow doesn't make a summer, but Madrid had played. Of course, they all had played during the week, but I don't know what it is. And as I said, they have their own problems as well. Kylian Mbappe is fighting a rape and sexual assault charge from his day out in the nightclub in Stockholm after flying over there a few lads to their downtime between games. And really, it's not a good look either. I'm not saying he's guilty of anything. I was only reading over the weekend, but all those things on outside the club, those things going on doesn't bode well on the club either. I'm not making an excuse for him. I'm saying that's in the background of it as well.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot going on because he's got that lawsuit against PSG.
I know how much more money he wants. He's looking for his 55 million euro
Yeah.
that he says he's owed. I mean, how much money is enough for the man? I'm not saying he's not owed it, but it's shocking.
There's two sides to every story,
Yeah.
We talked about this before.
Yeah.
If they're willing to pay to make the agreement up front, then they've got to honor that agreement if that's the case. So you can't have it, you can't have it both ways. And the same thing here that we're talking about. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge came out the other day speaking that we've got to have a reset in football, and everybody has got to sit down and actually start talking about, how are we going to reset the whole football issue, because we're talking about too many games for players to play, right? Players have to play, but
there's that as well.
Yeah, but when players are making 200 grand a week, they're not complaining every time they get a bonus for an extra game. But when anybody talks to them about having to take a pay cut, then it's, well, why do we have to take a pay cut? Why do we have to suffer? Well, there's only one way the clubs can get more money in, and that is by playing more games and more advertising.
Yeah.
And so now we have a situation where that had never happened prior to this, but agents taking hundreds of millions out of the game, money that would be circulating.
But surely, Joe, you must have disharmony in the dressing room. If I'm getting 150 grand a week and I'm sitting down beside a fella who's getting 2 million euro a week, now I'm certainly not going to make him look better on the field anyway for my 150 grand. I'm certainly not going to do it. I'm just talking about myself selfishly. We're selfish beings, human beings are. When you're in a team, then obviously you can't do things. I'm just saying it doesn't lend itself to harmony in the team, in the club as well either.
Well,
And if you have a manager like Guardiola who wants to be in the limelight all the time, look at me, put the camera on me, he's not playing. He's not playing on the pitch. He's not taking the kicks. He's not taking the knocks, And really, it does great on players as well, I think, And to have that carry on as well, They could all take a leaf out of Manchester City's book, where they have endless money and massive amount of hedge companies all over the world to finance the club. They could all copy Man City.
Well, I mean, it's a whole different thing now. I mean, it used to be that clubs would have a wage structure, and all the players were on that wage structure. And then it was a signing on bonus that you got, or a loyalty bonus that you got for the value that you brought to the team. So Haaland could be on the same money as Rodri, but if Haaland scores 30 goals a season, he would be getting 20 grand of the loyalty bonus, whatever it was. Well, but then when more money started coming into the game, things started changing, and now you've got players with image rights, right?
You have?
So they're making a fortune from their image rights, and they've seen that from other sports and what have you. So they're going, well, we want a piece of that as well. You know, so the whole thing is very, very
Yeah.
it's very difficult now to reel this thing in. And then I'm reading the other day where there's a whole new thing coming out where that might even make the Bosman ruling look like it was pocket change. The way that money paid for players may no longer be even worthwhile. You know, the players can move whenever they want. So the whole financial structure, the whole transfer structure that we had in the past, where you could go and say, "I want Derwynne, and I'm willing to give you 50 million for him."
Yeah.
Well, you can still do that, but he could be on freedom of contract the next year, so you've wasted 50 million on him. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see where the whole thing goes, and I think that this new Club World Cup that FIFA are bringing in is going to, because that's just a money grab to try and
And I think what has caused an awful lot of upset in soccer worldwide is the Saudi money. The amount of money they've paid for players to go over and play in their league. I mean, that will definitely will not be a positive in the long run for soccer over this side of the world anyway, because that kind of money cannot be matched here in most countries. It cannot be done.
The trouble with it though is the genie is so far out of the bottle. It's scary, isn't it?
It is. It is. That's true. It is.
You know,
it's not going back.
like,
it's not going back in.
To actually do any kind of reset where it got back to being, dare I say, normal. I mean, you'd have to stand there and go, well, whichever way you look at it, the players, the managers, the owners, they're all going to kick off, aren't they? In various, if there was, how many sections of a reset there could be? Everybody within sections are going to kick off.
If people want to go to honest soccer matches, they can go to the League of Ireland, where it's last Friday night there was a few fantastic games. I was watching on television. Shelbourne and Derry City is coming down to the last match in the League of Ireland next Friday night, where Shelbourne, who are managed by Damien Duff, they've put a fantastic structure in there now, and they're going up to Derry City. They're 2 points ahead of Shamrock Rovers, who have a home match as their last game against Waterford. So Shamrock Rovers versus Waterford, Derry City versus Shelbourne, winner takes all. Both games are being shown on the two channels here, so we have hopping from one to the next.
On Friday, this Friday coming, you've got the first round of the FA Cup on BBC.
Yeah.
You've got two little clubs, and Joe, you've played in the FA Cup. I mean, the excitement for those little clubs to be at that stage on TV, it's phenomenal. And we all know, I can't remember who it is, but it's two little tiny little town clubs, and they'll be turning people away, won't they, at the turnstiles?
Oh yeah, well, it'll be the highlights of it.
Yeah, and it's on BBC. It's on prime time Friday night, BBC, and you're sitting there, and I watch those, and I go, well, the first round's fantastic, the second round's great. Oh, third round, all right. Well, now we've got the big clubs in it now.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I think, well, wouldn't it be nice if those big clubs were in it from the beginning? And they did get drawn against, down the road,
It's a bit too concentrated. All the clubs in the FA Cup, every single club that are entering the FA Cup in England should be all in the pot from the start, from the get-go. And out of the pot comes Grimsby Town against Man City. First round. I mean, that would be exciting. That would be fantastic.
Well, I mean, that's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, even when you look at the League Cup now, you've got the League Cup that's seeded.
It is seeded, yeah.
and you're like, hang on a minute, you're just making the rich clubs richer again.
You
Yeah.
are. They're coming in at the most prime time, and they're getting plum ties. That's guaranteed gate receipts and television time.
And to me, the whole game is as you know, the cheapest ticket now at Stamford Bridge, 75 quid.
Oh, jeez. The day of bringing your 3 kids to the match is gone.
Yeah. But
To me,
you
it's
can,
moved away.
but
Go on.
you can.
Talking about Stamford Bridge,
said
that
earlier,
pass by Cole Palmer over the weekend was fantastic. Oh, jeez.
we're talking about this, and we're talking about players making this and what have you. But for the first 60 odd years that football was in existence, there was a maximum wage.
Yeah, wage cap, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was £20 a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Jimmy Hill that broke that, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, and it wasn't until the 60s that got overturned with Jimmy Hill and the PFA, Professional Footballers Association.
yeah.
But then I was reading one the other day about Manchester United, and it was an article about Sir Matt Busby, which wasn't very flattering about him, to be honest. And he told all the United lads, when he was there, well, I think you're all worth £100 a week. He said there was no one at Old Trafford making £100 a week.
Yeah.
We were all making in the 50s.
Yeah.
I remember John Giles telling the story when he was at United, and they had the Busby Babes there and Bobby Charlton, all those guys. He said there was only one person at Manchester United that had a car. All the rest of us were riding the bus in those days.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's
And
true.
that person was Freddie Goodwin. And Freddie
Oh, yeah.
only had a car because he was playing cricket for Lancashire County Cricket Club. So he was cricket in the summer and
Soccer.
in the winter. So he was making two wages where the rest of the lads were making one. So, and it wasn't until Johnny Haynes at Fulham got paid £100 a week by Tommy Trinder, who was the chairman there for a number of years. So, so players had been kept down. I mean, I remember some of the lads from Grimsby. I met some of them a couple of weeks ago. Dave Worthington was Frank Worthington's brother, right? Dave was the captain of Grimsby Town when Laurie McManamy was the manager there. And in the summertime, Dave used to work on the seafront selling ice cream to make ends meet.
To make a living. Yeah, make a living. Yeah.
You're not getting any bonuses or anything like that in the summertime. So players have had it for, they've been on the receiving end of it for a long time.
And they've gone too far the other way now.
And now, and that's always the way with it, is that the pendulum swings the other way.
Yeah.
And how do you get it to come back to the middle and a little bit of sanity with it? So it's,
So just for our viewers on the Premiership over the weekend, Man City are on top now with 23, Liverpool of 22, Arsenal have 18, Villa have 18, Chelsea 17, Brighton 16, Forest 16, Spurs 13, and Man United are on 11, as we know, 11 points out of 27 after 9 games. So that's the Premiership. Championship, I saw Jude Bellingham's brother score a terrific goal for Sunderland over the weekend. And Sunderland, they play a beautiful brand of soccer. They're top of the championship at 28 points. Burnley at 23, Leeds at 23, Sheffield 22, West Brom 20, Blackburn 19, Watford 19, and Norwich of 17. So that's the championship. League One, Birmingham are on top. Wickham are with 29 points, and Wickham have 26, and Wrexham have 25. Mansfield 24, Huddersfield 22, and Reading 22. So it's very tight. So they have 12 games played in League One. So there you go. That's the soccer there. So with the Ballon d'Or tonight in Paris, I don't know who's going to be getting what, but anyway, there are rumours that Rodri is getting the Ballon d'Or. I don't know. We'll see. None of the Real Madrid delegation are attending anyway out of a protest because it was leaked. The winner was leaked, and they expected Vinicius to win that, but he's lost out to Rodri. But that'll be all revealed later on. Now, um, over the weekend, of course, there was rugby played as well, and in the URC, Munster's was
I've got to.
Joe's got to go. Joe's taking a call from the Glazers, Derwynne.
Hey Joe, if you get the job, I want a
I'll
ticket.
meet him at the airport. I'll let
I
you know.
want a ticket, Joe.
And a few prawn sandwiches.
I'll see you lads next week.
See you next week, Joe. Take care. Take care, buddy. So, Derwynne, just you and me after we had golf over the weekend, quite a few championships on, and Nicholas Echevarri from Colombia won on the Zozo Championship in Japan on the DP World Tour. At 20 under, he won 1.53 million, 64, 64, 65, and 67. Seamus Power was playing at that from Waterford. He finished at 11 under, 69, 62, 72, and 64. So he did well there. And
did you see the clip with Xander Schauffele where he tried to play it out the tree route?
I didn't see the clip. Oh, I watched the clip. I didn't save it. I should have saved it.
I tell you what, it's worth watching because it's one of the funniest things you'll watch. Because it's like he's right in the tree route and he can't get to the ball at all. And the caddy's arguing with him about take the drop, take the drop, take the drop.
Well, wouldn't he be entitled to a drop?
Yeah, you get well, it's a penalty drop because it's not like a burrowing animal's made. It's just bare route. He's hit a bad tee shot. Anyway, he argues with the caddy and says, "No, I can get it out of here. I know I can get it out of here." And he has one go at it, and the ball doesn't move. He hasn't, and then next thing you know, he's lost it. And he has another go at it. Well, he starts laughing at the end. But I mean, he's got a look on his face that's just like
thunder. And sure, if he a penalty drop would have allowed him to get out of it.
Yeah, he would have got out of it and knocked it on the green, and made a bogey rather than make 7.
What competition was that in? That was in the
one in Japan.
Oh, the Zazo, yeah. No, I didn't see his name up there, yeah. But
it's worth on YouTube because it's funny.
I must get out. We'll get out.
On the weekend, I watched a really good documentary that's on iPlayer. No, it's on Netflix. Sorry. And it's about the Euro final at Wembley with England v Italy when they had all the crowd issues outside the ground, trying to get in.
Yeah.
You want to watch that documentary? Amazing.
I'll take your word for it.
Everything that could go wrong
went wrong. I remember that. I remember it at the time. Then
there was 1,000 people trying to bunk their way into Wembley.
Gee.
Yeah.
Whose fault was that?
Well, I think it's a combination of the authorities at Wembley
and the police.
And the police. Because they expected trouble to be in London because the Italian fans were congregating in Trafalgar Square and Leicester Square and all around London and then coming to Wembley. Whereas the England fans without tickets went straight to Wembley and they had 60,000 people outside the ground trying to storm into the stadium.
Excellent. Beautiful.
Yeah, and the police, because the kickoff was at 8 o'clock, the police weren't due to arrive at Wembley till 4. But the crowds arrived at Wembley at 8:30 in the morning.
Oh, Jesus. My God.
They emptied every single convenience shop, Tesco's, Sainsbury's. They emptied all the supermarkets of alcohol. And it was openly, there's great clips where you've got drug dealers openly selling cocaine and drugs and whatever to the football fans on actually on camera.
I must watch that. What's the name of it?
I think it was like I think they've called it something like it's something. If you go on Netflix, it's Wembley. If you just Google England Italy final,
Yeah.
it's like Trouble at Wembley or something.
That'll be what I like watching documentaries like that anyway, you know. I like those.
It's a great watch because it literally just highlights, and it's all documented from like 8:30 in the morning all the way through.
That's the documentary recommended here by Derwynne. And what is it? Is it an hour long?
It's about an hour and a half.
All right. The ladies tour was playing over in Kuala Lumpur on the Maybank Championship. But that lovely Chinese golfer, Ruing Yin, Y-I-N Yin. She won it anyway. She's a fabulous golfer. Minus 23. These are unbelievable. 67, 67, 66, 65. And she won $450,000. Leona Maguire was playing in that as well. She played all 4 rounds, but her opening round and her closing round did her in, as they say. She finished at minus 8. She opened with a 73 and finished on a 71. But her 2 middle rounds were decent enough, 268, you know. But she finished at 30 in the top 30 there, but she did well. The Genesis Golf Tournament then was won by An from Korea, and he in a playoff at minus 17, and he won that. Genesis Golf. And Paulie Harrington won again on the singles tour over the weekend. I saw the last round last night, and 67, 65, and 67. At 53 years of age, fair play to him, you know. He's very popular over there, apparently. The Simmons golf tournament in Little Rock in Arkansas, that's where he was playing. He won $65,000 at 53 years of age, fair play to him, you know. But he's popular. You didn't see any of the golf, huh?
He can still play.
Oh, he's still a good golfer. He's healthy. He's very healthy, you say.
Yeah.
You know? And he keeps himself well, so did very well, you know. And I watched some of that. I watched some of the ladies. They were very good golf. I like watching ladies golf because I think they're no nonsense, you know. There's no dithering. I mean, I was watching a bit of the Genesis golf, and this guy played in the par 3. He played his tee shot into it. It was about a foot from the hole, and he came up and knocked the ball. Knocked it and went away. I mean, he could have tapped it in.
And it gets slower and slower out there, doesn't it?
And he stood there, and I was watching this, and I said to myself, but they're all at it. They're all at it. There was 3 women that were warned in Maybank in Saturday during their round. They were nearly a hole behind, you know, in time wise, you know. That the hole in front of them was cleared for a good bit.
Yeah.
A good few minutes. And that one from Spain, she's very slow, although she's lovely. Siganda is her name. Siganda. She is slow. And the French girl can be very slow as well, Celine Boutier. And they had the two of the slowest playing together, you know.
Yeah, that's that perfect recipe, isn't it?
Just like having who in the men. What's that slow fella? I forget his name. Cantley.
Yeah.
Cantley and someone. Oh God. I mean, you couldn't follow that fella, you know. Formula One was in America over the weekend, and it's tightening up now. The race is tightening up between Norris and Verstappen. And the Sainz won it. Norris was second, Leclerc was third, and Hamilton was fourth. And Verstappen now has 362 points, and Norris has 315. So he's 47 points behind him, and it's 25 points for a win. So you can see that 2 wins and he's going to pass him. You know.
I mean, they're now saying just how dangerous Verstappen is on the race course, aren't they?
Huh?
They're saying how dangerous Verstappen is with his driving.
It's desperation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
desperation. I think
he took Norris out, didn't he, in that last race in the US?
he did. He got born. I don't know. Will there be a fine? Will there be something down the line for him? I don't know. Will there be a penalty against him at the next race?
I think he had 2, didn't he? 2 10-second penalties.
He had 2 penalties already in that race. That's true. True. That's true. And Karen Wilson destroyed Judd Trump in the Northern Ireland Open over the weekend. Trump was a red hot favourite to win it again. But Karen Wilson is playing some immaculate super. 9-3 he beat him by 9-3. So he really, in the first 2 sessions you play 8 frames and then you play 9 frames if it goes the full session. So he won 7 frames, Karen Wilson, in the first set. And it was looking like a record 8-0 whitewash in the first session, which meant he only had 1 more frame to play in the second session. But Trump won the 8th frame, so it was 7-1. I couldn't believe the score when it flashed up because I wasn't watching because you can't watch all the sports. But I went to see it then. But Wilson is a good player. Though. He's a good player.
He is,
He'd be a very good bet. He's matured. He's matured an awful lot in the last 5 or 6 years, and he used to be a bit temperamental one time. But I think that he has learned to live with himself, so to speak. But I think he'd be a good bet for the World Championship. I think he would definitely be a good bet for the World Championship, without a shadow of a doubt. In the rugby, anyway, Munster were beaten in their second match over in South Africa, 41-24. Connacht beat the Dragons 31-7. And the Scarlets had a good win over in Italy at home against Zebra, 30-7. And the Ospreys had a good win against Edinburgh, who are leading the URC. The Ospreys, so the 2 Welsh teams are coming up a bit. 22-13. Leinster beat the Lions 24-6, and Ronan O'Gara's team had a bad weekend. Is that the way how you describe it? 16-0. They were beaten by Montpellier. We'll be there now next month, the second week of. We'll be going down to Montpellier for a few days from Paris. And so you can watch out for the stay down in Montpellier if anyone looking for Montpellier.
What a life you've got, honestly. I was getting cold. I'll nip to the south of France.
We're going over for a week.
By boat.
We're going over for a week to Paris and then to Montpellier and then back to Paris again.
Didn't Ulster lose as well to Cardiff, didn't they?
Ulster, did I have my Ulsters?
Yeah, Ulster lost to Cardiff, I think.
Yeah, I didn't write down their team, but anyway, the table, the Leinster are top of 29, Glasgow 23, the Bulls 19, the Lions 18, Connacht 18, Scarlet 16, Ulster 16, and Cardiff 16. So they're Munster are down in 12th place. I'm afraid Graham Rowntree would get the bullet or should get the bullet. I don't think that man has any idea what he's doing at this stage with the team. And
he's out.
You can't. Oh, he's always deaf completely. Even when you listen to his interview with the press, I mean, I'm not an expert in rugby by any manner of means, but I know that the 2 basic elements in rugby to get right are your lineouts and your scrum.
Yeah.
That's what rugby is, scrummaging and lineouts. And they're being wiped out in the lineout play, and they're being more or less wiped out in the scrum as well. So I don't know what's happening there. And what people don't realise in any professional sport, but in professional rugby, it's a very small, it's a niche sport, it's a minority sport in this country. And if they want to attract professional players into any team, you have to have the basic structures right. There's no South African or All Black going to come to Munster to play professional rugby with a shambolic setup that they have now, which is unfortunate. Now they've been hit with injuries. I know that Peter O'Mahony is out. He's a solid player. There's been a few more out, but I mean, really and truly, a lot of the young players, I think there's one of the teams, is it Stade Francais or someone is looking at Toulouse? No, Toulon is looking at one of the, I don't know, 9 or 10 for Munster. I mean, there's big money in rugby in France,
Yeah, big
you know.
money.
So if you're in your 23 or 24 and you're getting your whatever you're getting, I don't know, €1 million a year or something, I don't know what the contract will be like, but you're going to go. You're definitely
Yeah,
going to go. You're going to go. As simple as that. Plan for the future. But that was the rugby. But getting back to the soccer, your man, Derwynne, from Sporting Lisbon, is in the frame. He's one of the top punchers in the frame for the Man United job. The manager of Sporting Lisbon, according to the reports here on the television, anyway, you know.
yeah. I think
And
I got a funny feeling. I got a funny feeling that if it could be another one of these. I'm
temporary,
I'm, I'm a bit sort of disillusioned at the moment with Ineos and Radcliffe and all of this nonsense that's going on, because I thought him coming in would have made some proper decisions and built something. And I know, everybody goes, "Oh, he's only just got there," and all. He hasn't just got there. He's been there a while now, and I think, you know, Dave Brailsford might know the ins and outs of everything to do with a push bike.
yeah.
I can't see how you can step into that world with as much experience he's got about, you know, fitness and everything else like that. I can't see, because I don't think footballers have got any respect for anybody unless you've been an old player.
I
I'm
think
sure,
that myself, what Man
I'm,
United should have done was appoint Van Nistelrooy as manager till the end of the season.
yeah, I'm sure that if you and I went into the changing rooms at Man United, we would not get any respect at all. I'm sure if Joe Waters went into the changing rooms at Man United, he'd have more respect than me and you would have.
I would, yeah. He was sending.
And,
He was sending.
and because you and me are coming at it from nowhere.
Nowhere. And
And I think, I think Brailsford and the whole thing with Ineos is great, but they're still not. He doesn't own Man United. Radcliffe, he's got a share of it. The Glaziers haven't moved away. They still own it. They've got the majority.
yeah,
And
wasn't your man there at the time of Ferguson? Edwards, was it Edwards?
Edwards, yeah, when Martin Edwards owned
That
it,
Edwards.
because his dad owned it before, didn't he?
Yeah,
Going back to the 40s and 50s,
yeah.
Louis Edwards owned Man United. Then Martin Edwards took over when his dad passed away. And he again he had the best, didn't he? Martin Edwards. He had he milked. I don't say he milked it. That's the wrong word. But he earned more out of Man United than you could shake a stick at.
Absolutely. And I think that Man United now are I think are just floundering. If
Do
they
you know?
think,
Pat? I said to you at the beginning of the football season on this show with you and Joe that
yeah,
it would shock me if United were in a relegation battle. And I'm
well,
telling you, they're
yeah,
14th now in the league, and they're now managerless. I know Van Nistelrooy is going to hold the reins, but to me, you've got a whole load of egos running around at Man United, and they're overpaid, and yeah,
underperforming,
yeah,
underperforming. Yeah,
I look at United yesterday, and Ericsson has been a great player in his time. He shouldn't be playing for Man United.
no,
Casemiro's been a great player in his time. but he's had his time. He shouldn't be playing for Man United.
Rashford should be shifted out of the club.
Rashford to me now has got. I can't watch Rashford really without thinking you don't even try. You're just picking up whatever you're picking up, 400 grand a week, and you're just there for the money. And you look at the whole of that United team. Luke Shaw's, well, he's got a permanent sick note, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, if you ran Man United, if you ran Manchester United like a business, you'd actually sit down with Luke Shaw, wouldn't you, and say, "Listen, I can't keep paying you because you don't come to work. I'm going to pay you some money, but I need you to go because you're not coming. You're not opening the shop up. You're not putting your shift in at work." And and these players don't need money, do they?
No.
They are beyond wealthy. Unless they just blow the whole shebang or whatever. But they shouldn't ever, even their children shouldn't even be in a position that they have to work in the future, should they? The money.
What's stopping United giving the job to Van Nistelrooy?
Well, I think you're sitting there. You've got Brailsford. You've got this other bloke. You've got another bloke who have all come from businesses and from Brailsford's sporting background in Sky cycling and all the rest of it. And to me, there's no money in cycling, is there? At the level Brailsford was at. I mean, the Tour de France teams, they earn good money. Don't get me wrong, but they're not. It's not football money, is it?
No.
And 1 minute.
Didn't Roy Keane play with Van Nistelrooy?
Yeah, Roy Keane would have played with.
So Van Nistelrooy should take over the manager's job and have Roy Keane as his assistant.
Well, it's going to be interesting because United now have got a run of some really tough teams to play, and it doesn't take 3 more matches, and they don't win the next 3 games, they could be down in the bottom 4.
They're 5 points off the bottom.
Yeah, it's not beyond the realms of the players going, "Oh no, Van Nistelrooy wants to do this. We don't really understand what he's doing or saying or whatever." And they've got some big games coming up. I think they've got. They
have Leicester City wins tonight in the League Cup, and they have Chelsea next Sunday.
Yeah, and let's face it, Chelsea. If you looked at Cole Palmer and Jackson starting to knock goals in, whereas before he was missing them. And you look at the Chelsea team, the oldest player in the Chelsea team is 27. And you're looking at it thinking, right, they could get turned over by Chelsea quite easily, couldn't they?
They could easily lose 5-0.
Yeah. And, let's forget about playing Leicester City, because Leicester are no good shape anyway. And it'll probably be a good game because they're both, to me, pretty much even Stevens.
Well, Leicester will give them a good match.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the League Cup or whatever it is. It doesn't matter at this stage, does it, for United now? Because
I mean, they won the FA Cup and they won the League Cup with Ten Hag.
I could see United. I could see United by Christmas being in a relegation battle. I really could.
Yeah, I mean, you look at teams that came up there a couple of years ago, just Nottingham Forest and Brentford, and they were all saying that they wouldn't stay up. They've proved them wrong. With no stars, and I don't mean that disparagingly towards the club. I mean they're very well set up. They're very well organised. They're united, not Forest and Brentford, and they're an example to many teams. They should be an example, even to Manchester United, how to run their affairs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look how successful they are.
Yeah.
And look at their budget compared to what United's budget is.
Oh, it's just infinitesimal small.
Yeah, and you're sitting there and thinking to yourself, Yeah, like I said earlier on, Ten Hag's been a bit unlucky. He hasn't had the players play for him. He's had injuries. At the same time, I don't know if Ten Hag was up for it, really. As in, was he good enough to be there?
Exactly. And what's his footballing philosophy?
Yeah, well, like, if you said to me what kind of football do United play now, I'd look at you and go, well, apart from bad, I don't know what else you'd categorise it as.
Anyway, we've come to the
Well,
end of another. Yeah, go on.
no, go on.
I was going to say we've come to the end of another show, but we're hoping that we're looking forward to some good soccer matches. The Irish ladies team, I forgot to mention, are playing the second leg of the playoff semi-final to tomorrow night in Tallaght, sold out the stadium, and they won the first leg 6-0. So I don't think there's any doubt about they're qualified to play either Slovakia or Wales in the final. And that game will be for who will go to the European Championship by the playoff system, which is very good for soccer and good for our own crowd here. But Wales only lost 2-1 away to Slovakia, so they'll have
Yeah.
their tails up, and I think that tie is still alive anyway, But we might have the Taffies at home. You never know. Might have the Taffies at home. Derwynne has been great. So for Derwynne, Honan and Joe who had to press off with an engagement, we don't know whether he's in the frame or not, but it all will be revealed next Monday here, whether he's getting a phone call from Old Trafford, we don't know that yet. But stranger things have happened. So for Derwynne, for Joe and myself, till we meet again next Monday, take care, Derwynne, take care.
No worries. Take care, boys.
Bye.